Hello and welcome to the DPN car collection here at DPN TV. As always, it's great to have you along with us, and I thought I'd do a little sort of introduction demonstration a bit on how to enter the security code if it needs entering on this Rover Symphony Alpine radio. This one's fitted to the 75, and I think really it's one of the best ones they really ever fitted. It was made to fit the 75 as far as I know, and it's really got good sound quality. It's straightforward to use, and the only other radio they fitted to the Rover range that comes close to this is the one I'm going to show you just now. This Philips Rover radio, I think it's a Philips brand, I certainly always call it that, and again it's really got a nice sound. It's simple to use, no major menus, and I think this comes about as close as the radio we're looking at today in our 75. This one's fitted to our Rover 45 W Reg, a really nice radio to use, listen and picks up the stations very well. Right, so the first thing I thought I'd do is cover how you enter the security code on this radio. So the first thing you'll need to do is switch it on if it doesn't come on, and you do that by using the volume button. All you need to do is push it, and if I push that there, the radio goes off. If I push it again, the radio will come on. But if you've disconnected the battery or had to remove the radio, or your battery's gone completely flat, then the security code will need entering. Hopefully it will be written in the manual that you've got with the car, or on a little Rover card. If not, I think there are some services on eBay where you give the serial number and they give you the code. It's not something I've tried because we've been lucky enough to have the code come with all the radios in our car collection. This radio is fitted to our Rover 75 2001. So if we come back to the code system and how to enter that, as I say, you'll switch it on by pushing that button there. Obviously the ignition needs to be in that sort of auxiliary position, and what you'll get is code come up here, and then what you'll need to do is push button 1 and you'll get a little 0 appear, and then these buttons here basically act as up and down buttons. So if the first number in the code was 5, you'd have to push that 5 times till you see the 5 appear up in the screen. Then you'll push button 1 again, and next to the first number in your code will appear another 0, and then you'll push these up and down arrows depending on which way you want to go. So if you push that one first, number 1 will come up, and if you push that one first, number 9 will come up. So if your number is 8 next, it's easier to push this way and push it twice to get the number 8, and then you'll do the same thing 4 times, and once you've entered the 4th number in the code, always pushing button 1 first, then doing those. Once the 4 numbers are correct, then you push number 1 one more time, and that should enter your code. If you do enter the code wrong for any reason, I think there's a slight delay. Something will come up in the screen. Wait till that clears and the code appears, and then enter the code again. And I think they recommend not to switch the radio off if you have made a mistake with the code. Hopefully if you've got the manual, then you'll have instructions on how to enter the code, but I just thought I'd hold it up in case you haven't, and hopefully what you'll be able to do is pause the screen and read that as well. So as well as me going through it, you've got a bit of information you can read on entering the security code as well. As I said, in my opinion, it's probably one of the best radios they fitted, and more or less the best in the range. The only other ones that were fitted to the 75 is one that had a television screen here, and I think that was kind of a version that was fitted in some BMWs at the time. Or this radio actually come with a little satellite navigation set of controls, and then your directions appeared in the little digital screen on your dashboard. Both of those I'm glad we don't have, because by now, sort of 20 years old, I've no doubt the satellite navigation will be well out of date. Now, it's possible on the television one it could have been updated, but on this model, I very much doubt it could have been updated. And basically, you had a few buttons here that controlled the navigation. You got some basic commands come up in this screen, and directions came up on the screen in the speedometer console, which I'll show you in just a second where that would have come up. So it is that top screen there that you'd have got some of the displays giving you directions from the satellite navigation system built in to this radio. So yeah, as I say, there would have been some buttons there. You got a little bit of display there, and you'd have also got some directions come up in that little top digital screen right there. I like to see a full map and directions. As I say, all this would have done was give you basic spoken directions and like an arrow or a picture, a roundabout, and as I say, would have been well out of date by now. So I'm glad this car didn't have either of those. So I think at 20 years old, this is about the best radio, in my opinion, you can get if you're going to get a original radio in the 75. And as I say in all our videos, I'd rather have the original radio if possible. It looks right, and they normally always have a reasonably good sound. And to be honest, putting a modern radio in it, if you've got one with like Apple CarPlay and Android, eventually that's going to go out of date in about 3 or 4 years time. It might not be able to update, and that's even the same with what they're fitting in modern cars. There's a limit to how long that's going to stay in date. And you imagine a modern car now in 20 years time, there's no way that the Apple CarPlay and the Android Play and any ways of linking your phones is going to be working or compatible in 20 years time, so it more or less becomes useless. This radio is always going to work. It's going to pick up the FM. You've got the CD changer and the cassette. Yeah, I thought I'd better mention actually, this is the cassette version, and there's a CD changer in the glove box, which again I'll show you during the video when we're talking about the CD player. So as I said, fairly straightforward to use. There's no real menus as such. The only things you can set as far as sound goes is your bass, your treble, your balance, that kind of thing, and that's all done on the button that's opposite to your volume dial, identical dials. And what you need to do is push that in. You'll see the screen changes, and it has bass +3 at the moment, and all you do, it disappear, so I'll push it again. All you do is push it, and then you turn the dial to get more or less bass. And when you set your bass, then all you need to do is push it again, and it'll go to your treble. Once again, you can alter your treble by turning the dial. You've then got your balance right to left, and I always have it biased because I'm sitting in the driver's side by 1. Again, as you see, it disappears pretty quick, but you just keep pushing it to get to where you are. And then the last one is your front to rear, and I've left that as a 0, so all 4 speakers will be the same as that balance goes. And then you get back to your main display. That's about all you can really set in this radio as far as sound goes. As I said, no real menus to use, which is really nice. If we go on to using the radio, at the moment it's on classic, so if you wanted to just quickly find the next channel, you push that button there, and it will search and find the next channel. I've got the radio muted so it doesn't throw up any copyrights now or in the future. And then if I just seek the other way, it should go back to the channel we were on, which was classic. If you want to do a manual tune, you push that, and then these arrows will literally go up and down, so you can perhaps do a fine tune, or if the signal's not quite strong enough for it to pick up on the seek, then you can still find that station. Also, if you want to do a sort of scan to find the most strongest signals, if you push this scan button, what it will do is find the next strongest signal, play it for about 5 seconds, then move on to the next one and the next one. And when you find the station you like the sound of, you push the scan again and it will stay on that station. If you want to program the stations in, so like this is classic, if you wanted that in button 5, you literally push button 5 and hold it, you'll hear that little pip and it's then programmed. And then if I just scan off of that, so it finds the next strongest signal again, and then I push back button 5, it'll take us straight back to that program. That's very similar on all the Rover radios. You've got your FM, and there's a selection of FM frequencies. You can technically have all different stations programmed in on the different FMs that are there, so it technically gives you a more range of booking stuff in, and we're currently on the FM2 range with button 5 programmed in as classic. You've also got AM as well, and if you push that, you've got AM or medium wave as it is, and then long wave as well. So you've got 2 medium waves and 1 long wave, all again being able to tune them in. You want to go back to your FM, you just push your FM and you're back to FM. So that's essentially the radio. The only other thing you can do is get traffic information. So if you push that I there, you enter, well, you had the traffic on, you'll see that little traffic disappeared, and if I push it again, it reappears. So basically, yeah, that just brings your, and what that does is if an FM station, like a local one, so we've got Classic on, which is a national station, if a local station to your area transmit a traffic report, they send a little signal, and this radio will change from Classic to the traffic report and then back to the national station once that traffic report's finished. What's really nice about this radio is that if you're listening to a CD or a cassette, then it will also stop that cassette or CD, play you the traffic report, and then come back. And that does work, because I've had CDs playing, the traffic report are cut in and the CD will carry on where it left off. So again, a really nice nice feature. A lot of radios do it, but I don't think all of them will stop your cassette or CD. So as I said, you've got your cassette deck there and your CD changer. In this one is in the glove box. On most 75s, they're either in the boot or the glove box. I think the earlier ones, the early 2000s, are often in the glove box, and then later on they started putting them in the boot. It's quite nice having it in the glove box, but as I'll show you in just a minute, although it's easy to get to, it does more or less use up the whole space of your glove box. So it's kind of one of those things you gain in some ways but lose in others, but I'm quite happy with it in the glove box in this car. It works quite nicely because you haven't got to go round to the boot and keep changing. I think the CD changer probably stays in better condition as well, being in the glove box we've found. So using the cassette deck or the CD, you've got one button. If you push it the first time, it will go to the CD, and as you can see that it started to play disc 2. These will change your tracks, so if I push that, you'll see it changes to track 2 and then starts playing it. And if I want to change to a completely different disc, you've got up to 6 CDs that can go in the multi-changer. Then we're on disc 2, so if I want to play disc 3, I push that, you'll hear it moving the discs around. It's found disc 3 and it'll play track 1. If you wanted track 2 on disc 3, you'd push this button here and that will give you track 2. And as I said, the CD changer is in the glove box. Let me just get in there so the camera can focus. You'll see the CD changes in there, and as I said, it does take up most of your glove box, but it is a nice place for it to be. It is less likely for it to get sort of damaged or scuffed or scratched, or even really dampness get into it. So to change your CDs in the little cartridge, all you need to do is just pull the little flap back like that, and you'll hopefully see the cartridge in there, and then you push the little button here. Your cartridge will eject. And if I put the CD changer here on the seat, as you can see, it shows you the way that the little cartridge needs to go in. And then these little hooks here, basically you just pull those and your CD is in there. You can take it out from the little cartridge and put your next disc in. Once you've chosen your disc, you just simply slot it in there, but difficult to do it one hand, and push it back. And if I turn this on its side, you can see all the little sliders where each disc can go. And once you've got it all set up, all you need to do is get it the right way round and simply insert it back in. You can hear it now finding the discs and sorting itself out. And once it's done all that, probably before, you can just shut the little slider away, shut your glove box, and it's all done, and it'll be ready to play the discs you want. As I said, you will hear it going through the discs and sorting itself out. That's more or less it for the CD player, I think, keeping it fairly simple. Now, if you wanted to play a tape, we've not got a tape in here, but you push that again, it's recognised there's no tape, and what it does is goes back to playing the CD. But if you do want to use the tape player, what's nice about this one is a fully electronic tape player. So what I mean by that, there's no mechanical buttons. Even the eject button is electronic. You've got Dolby B, and you can access that by pushing at the noise reduction. So as I said, again, a really nice stereo, I think, well thought out, and had all the features you need at the time and still need now. And as far as I know, it all works on this stereo, so it was well built. And I think the stereos that were sort of late 90s and early 2000s will last. And I do know that some of the stereos that were fitted in the sort of 80s and early 90s might not have always lasted as well, but these ones seem to really last and really do work well. What you can do, what's nice about this cassette, if you've got the cassette in and push the scan button, it will play the first few seconds of each song, fast forward it and find the next song. That depends on your tape, and I've no doubt there's errors in there, but it's still nice that it's got that that feature. So that's your CD and cassette. If you want to get back to radio, you just push whatever you were listening to before, so AM or FM. We were listening to FM, so I'll push that, it'll stop the CD, and it will go back to the FM frequency. So yeah, hopefully that's give you a little introduction into this Symphony Alpine radio fitted to the 75s. As I said before, I think if you can get this radio, it's probably the best original radio you can get for the 75s, because the others were more basic or they were narrow, but this was designed to fit into this double bay. As far as I know, it only went in the 75, so it was really designed to fit, and you'll see how well it matches the console underneath. And as I say, it's not got any of the features that now would be a problem, like the satellite navigation, or even the one with the screen did television, which was amazing, but now we've switched over to Freeview, it's not going to find any television stations, so there'd be a lot of features wasted, or features you couldn't really use. On this, everything is still usable and it works as well as the day it was made. I said, really good sound, and the only one that I think comes close was that radio I showed you now, 45. So I'd say if you are looking for an original radio in a Rover car, if it's the 75, I think it's definitely this radio, and in the 45 it's the one I just showed you. Of course, I suppose you could always try and change the original radio, but I would say they're the sort of things that are not worth fiddling around with. It can be done, but the plugs and the setup were designed for the radio that's in that car, so I would leave it, or put a new one in if you really want to. Trying to make an original radio from another 75 or 45 fit the car you're in, it can be done, but I would say there'd be problems with it, or you'll get little glitches and that kind of thing. So if the original radio's in that car, leave it well alone. But if you're going to look for a car and it's got this one or that one in, then it's a real sort of a bonus. As always, don't forget to subscribe and like. Look through some of our other videos. I've done a video on all the different radios in our Rover car collection. So there's a nice selection of how to use the radio and how to enter the security code as well, on a good selection of radios fitted to the Rovers during the late 90s and into the 2000s as well. As always, thank you very much for watching.